I put ASAP on my tab. Woo. I put New York on the map. Woo. I put the gang on the flame. Woo. They gon' remember the name. They robbing boys with the chain. Woo. I got go yard by the sack. Woo. I got the boo by the pack. Woo. Boo in the back.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I am finally filming another sit down video for you guys today. As you can see from the title, this is going to be a nursing school question and answer. So I asked you guys to ask me questions online, and I also made up some questions myself and just kind of combined it all together so I can answer all of your questions. I know when I was applying to nursing school, I had a bunch of different questions about what it's like, what are clinicals like, what classes are you taking right now, what classes will I be taking, and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be answering all of your questions for you, and just keep watching. Okay, so if I'm looking down at my phone, it's because the questions are on my phone and I have to go look at them. So yeah. Okay, so let's start off with a really basic question. What school do you go to? So I go to Hampton University and I am in their nursing program. This is my junior year of school. Basically for my school, when I applied, I was a pre-nursing major. So I applied, I got accepted into the school, and I'm a pre-nursing major. I took my prereqs like anatomy and physiology, microbiology, statistics, psychology, developmental psychology, all those classes. You could probably look up whatever school you're interested in to see what prereqs you'll have to take, but I took those prereqs and then I applied into the professional nursing program. So I'm in my junior year and I'm officially a nursing major now. So basically, to apply into the program, you'll need to have a really good GPA. At my school, at least, we also had to take a TEAS test, which basically is kind of, I would compare it to the SATs. It's not as hard as the SATs, but it's pretty, challenging. So we had to do the TEAS test. We had to have 2 letters of recommendation, write an essay, and I think that was it. But basically it's your GPA and that T score that will really get you into nursing school. So I would say for your prereqs, really just try to do good. It especially depends on what school you're going to and how competitive that school is, because some schools you will need all A's in your prerequisite classes to really get into the program, and other schools are more lenient where you don't need all A's in your classes. I didn't have all A's in every single class. I had a 3.7 GPA and my T score was not that good. It was not as good as it should have been, but I still got into the program because of my high GPA. And I'm sure people have 3.8s and 3.9s and stuff like that, but my GPA was still good enough to allow me to get into the nursing program. And now that I'm in the nursing program, I'm just so happy that the application process is over with, because the application process is really nerve-wracking, kind of waiting for that acceptance letter and stuff like that. So once you're in the nursing program, it's honestly just a sigh of relief. Okay, so the next question is, what semester are you in? So I am in my 2nd semester. Technically this is my junior year, so our program is basically 2 years long. So I had a summer semester, which was 8 weeks, and that was where I took fundamentals of nursing. My prerequisite classes actually included dosage calculations and health assessment, so those classes were already out of the way and I already took them. So fundamentals of nursing was what I took in the summer. And then, so this is technically my 2nd semester. So the classes that I'm taking right now are pathophysiology, pharmacology, and medical surgical, or just med-surg as we call it. So med-surg, you're going to have a clinical attached onto med-surg. So technically you have 3 classes, but you also have clinical, and clinical is going to be with med-surg. I'll get more into clinical a little bit deeper into the questions. The next question is, what year do you graduate? So I graduate in May 2020, so that is 2 years from now, right? Well, I have like a year and a half left till I graduate, so May 2020, be on the lookout. Do you have a social life? How do you balance school and family, friends, and boyfriend? So I would say yes, I have a social life. I definitely make sure to go out on the weekends. First of all, it's nothing more depressing than staying at home and studying all weekend. Like that will get you. Don't do that. One thing I had to learn was to Like, get out of the house. Just because you have a test on Monday doesn't mean that you need to stay in all weekend and bury your head in a book. So I definitely try to get out the house. I'll go to parties that's on campus or that like the school's throwing, or I'll just go out to eat, or me and my boyfriend will just go to the mall. Just to kind of take a break is very necessary. Don't stress yourself out studying all weekend. You can still do good on a test while managing your time. Have you ever failed a test? Yes, I've definitely failed a test in health assessment. I haven't failed any tests this semester, knock on wood. I haven't failed any tests this semester yet, but health assessment, I definitely was failing tests. And that's because that was our first actual like nursing class that I had taken. So when I was taking health assessment, like I really had to adjust the type of questions that they were asking. So it wasn't just a question that was like, what is cancer? It's a question that was like, 4 patients come into your room or come into the ER complaining of blah 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 blah, or it'll be like 4 patients have admitted themselves to the emergency room. This patient has this patient has this patient has this patient has this. What patient will you see first? And it's like you have to use critical thinking skills and decide what patient you would see first and why. And it was just such a hard thing to adjust to, because I was so good at just studying the night before and getting an A on the test. Not anymore. I really had to study hard for these tests because it was pretty challenging. But once I adjusted to it, I was really starting to do well on the test. So that's one thing that I say about nursing school. The more you do practice questions and the more tests that you take, the better that you will get with the content, because you know you're starting to understand the type of questions that they ask and the type of questions that, or the type of answers that they're looking for. Okay, so the next question is, what are clinicals like? So remember I said I would talk about this later in the video. So I'm taking med-surg right now, and med-surg automatically has a clinical attached to it. So sometimes you'll have a class and it'll have a clinical attached to it. So for clinical, basically I'm going to tell you guys exactly what it's like, but let me just tell you what floor I'm working on. So we all get separated up into groups, and then certain groups go to certain hospitals. But sometimes you'll be at the same hospital, sometimes you'll be at separate hospitals. It's honestly just all dependent on what's available. So I have about 7 girls in my group. And we are on the med-surg floor. It's actually med-surg slash IMCU. So IMCU stands for Intermediate Care Unit. So if you guys know what ICU is, that's intensive care unit. So it's like ICU is up here with priority, and then med-surg is right here with priority. So like ICU, patients that are really sick go to ICU, and patients that are more stable will go to med-surg. And then IMCU is like they're not sick enough for ICU, but they're not stable enough for med-surg, if that makes sense. So I'm on a med-surg slash IMCU floor, so I kind of see very sick patients and then sometimes stable patients that still need to be hospitalized. Med-surg patients, a lot of them usually just get medications, and they're more so like stable and they're getting ready to get discharged. So yeah, so clinicals, so this is what clinicals is like, guys. You usually have a 12-hour shift, but it does depend what school you go to. I have 12-hour shifts once a week. So I wake up at 4:45 a.m. and then I'll drive there at about 5:45 when I carpool with someone, because I don't have my license. I'll carpool with someone there, and we meet on the floor that we're working on, or that our clinicals are on, and we meet in this meeting room. And basically you'll have a clinical instructor that goes with you, of course, obviously, and basically she'll assign you a room number. So like one person will have room 123, one person will have room 124, one person will have room 125. It's all different. So you're assigned to that patient. So my first day of clinical, honestly, I don't even know what to say. Like, I was scared. I didn't even want to, when I got there and I got told what room I'm going to, and my clinical instructor was like, okay guys, go. I did not want to go. I just was like, I'm not doing this. I give up. Never mind. Like, I wasn't serious, because I am scared. Like, I'm scared. So I knocked on the patient's door, opened up the door. hi, my name's Alicia, I'm gonna be your student nurse for the day. And literally I just run out the room. And so, but everyone is like nervous on the first day. So me and all my classmates, like, we went in there, said our name, like ran back out the room, and we all were just in the hallway like, what's next? Because we did not know what to do. Like, we were just too scared to do anything. Like, we did not know what was next. My clinical instructor was like, guys, get vitals. What are you guys doing? And we're just like, I did not even know how to work the vitals machine. God, like, I know we have skills lab hours, but the equipment we had was not the same equipment that they had in the hospital. So like, when I got the vital machine, I was like, how do you work this? Because this is not what we have in the lab. I don't know. I was scared. It's pretty nerve-wracking your first day. And then like the nurses, some of them, like, I honestly have worked with some great nurses, and they're so sweet, and they're so relatable, and they'll just open up to you and explain everything to you. But then there's going to be some nurses that you're with that you're just like, I'm annoying them. I can just feel it. I'm annoying them. Because it's like, you have to go up to the nurse, hi, can I shadow you for the day? You know, and some of them will be like, of course. And some will be like, yeah. But you can tell they're bothered and they don't want to be shadowed. You know what I'm saying? So that's the annoying part. But you are, of course, gonna, you know, find a nurse that is so open to having people shadow them, and it's just so sweet. And I just usually stick by those nurses, and I pray that the patient that I has those nurses, so that, you know, I can follow them around for the day. Because it's just, when you don't have a good nurse, you can honestly feel like you know nothing, or like you'll be scared to do anything because you'll be scared to make a mistake if, you know, the nurse, you know, isn't really open to you shadowing her, or just kind of has a negative attitude, you know. So when you have a nurse that just, you can tell is happy to have you there, it just makes you so much more comfortable with what you're doing, and so much more confident in what you're doing, because, you know, you guys understand what I'm saying. So what's the most gruesome thing you've seen at clinicals? Just remember, I don't work on emergency room floors. I don't see like patients come in with fresh gunshot wounds, but I have seen some pressure ulcers. If you don't know what a pressure ulcer is, look it up, because I don't even want to post that picture on this screen. I'm not even gonna gross y'all out right now. But like, this patient had like a huge pressure, like deep in their skin. I'm talking like stage 4 pressure ulcer on their leg, and it was so gruesome. And he was, well, the nurse had to like clean it out. I was just like, that looks like it hurts. That looks like it hurts. I've also seen red man syndrome. If you're nursing mate, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because it's an adverse effect for many medications. But I've seen red man syndrome. Look that up too if y'all don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not even about to put that picture on the screen, but I've seen that. That looked like it hurt. I mean, like flaky skin, red, irritated. Ow. I've seen that, but I haven't seen anything crazy like crazy like a gunshot wound, or like, I don't know. See, I don't even know what my eyes haven't seen yet, but I know I'm gonna see some crazy things real soon. But so yeah, there's probably some things that I'm forgetting, but there's a lot of things that I'm just learning in clinical and just seeing that's really interesting. And also, this is not a gruesome thing, but it's something that like I've never seen before or experienced before. So basically, it's when a code gets called on the floor. So they'll say like emergency response team room 123, emergency response team room 123, and that's how you know that there's a code on the floor, basically. And everyone just goes running in that direction. And if, let's say, you're on floor 4 and they say room 413, then you know that's your floor, and you just look and you see everyone running towards that room. And it's really like a medical emergency. And the respiratory therapist comes running, and there's a priest that comes, and there's the doctor and the nurse, and all these people just run into the room. So that's something that was very I mean, not interesting for the patient, but interesting for new nurses to see kind of how that situation occurs. What type of nurse do you want to be? So I have 3 options, but I have a number 1 option that is like kind of like, yeah, this is definitely what I want to do, and that is a NICU nurse. NICU stands for neonatal intensive care unit. So I definitely want to work in the NICU with Babies, I already know that's where I'm meant to be. I love babies. I love little kids. I know I have the heart for it. Even though I do get super sad sometimes because I'll watch some videos on YouTube about like preemie babies, and honestly my eyes will be watering. But I know I have the heart for it. That's really the only place where I can, well, it's not the only place I can see myself, but it's when I think of a place where I can see myself at, that's the first thing that pops in my mind. So if I had two other options, I would choose labor and delivery or emergency room. Work on the emergency department floor. Yeah. Do you think the relationship between you and your classmates has impacted your experience thus far? Well, first I want to start by saying you need friends in nursing school because your other friends will just not understand like what nursing school puts you through. So I think this year the classmates that I've met, and especially my clinical group, I love them, honestly. Like, I just feel like being able to sit there and vent and pour your heart out about how you feel about some classes or about this test grade or about your future, just anything like that, is it's so easy to talk to someone that's going through the same exact thing that you are. So I'm just so happy that this year I'm getting closer to certain people, and just I'm so grateful for my clinical group because this is the best clinical group I've had by far, and we're all so close. And you know, it's just sometimes you really need to talk to people that are going through what you're going through. So I would definitely say that the people that I've met have impacted my experience. If I didn't know anyone in this program, or if I was kind of by myself, I don't know if I would be able to do it, honestly. It's just good to be able to get stuff off your chest and, you know, kind of talk to someone that knows exactly how you feel. So yeah. What are some qualities that you think will make you a good nurse? You definitely have to have a good heart. You have to want to take care of people. If you don't want to take care of people and you're just doing it for the money, then you're not going to be happy in this job, because especially if you're working in a hospital, you usually will have a 12-hour shift and you'll be on your feet for most of the time. So I know a lot of nurses that just have attitudes, and it's like, did you really want to do this? Or I don't know. And then some nurses are just so nice and happy. You could tell that this is what they wanted to do. So I would definitely say that you have to have an open heart. You have to have a positive attitude, because like I said, some co-workers that you'll be working with will have attitudes and will just be negative and complain the whole time and just not be good people to work with. So I know it's hard to maintain a positive attitude all the time, because I struggle with that too, but like negative Nancy all the time is annoying. Or you have to go out of your way to really get to know the patients, especially if you're a nurse, because you spend the most time with the patient. So we're nearing the end. How do you study and study tips? So basically what I do is, if the professor puts up a PowerPoint, for example, I will copy those notes. I look in the book, I'll read, and I'll also be looking at the PowerPoint at the same time, and I'll be writing down, like, basically either not everything that's on the PowerPoint, but honestly 90% of the things that's on the PowerPoint, because it's kind of confined down, and it like basically specifies this is exactly what you need to know. If it's on the PowerPoint, it's pretty damn important. Writing it down is also a form of studying, because you're remembering this stuff in your head. Whew, I'm out of breath. So after I copy the notes, then I will, some people may think this is weird, but this is honestly how my mom taught me to study, and I've been riding with it ever since, like, I don't know, high school or elementary school, whenever she taught me. But like, let's say the chapter is on peptic ulcer disease. So I'll like read peptic ulcer disease is blah 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 blah. Then if I can read that back to myself without looking at my notes, then I know I understand it, and I know that I don't have to really go back over it. So I'll be like, peptic ulcer disease is blah 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 blah. The risk factors for peptic ulcer disease is this, 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 and this. So once I say that, then I'll be like, okay, so peptic ulcer disease is da 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 da. The risk factors are this, the risk factors are alcohol, the risk factors are smoking, the risk factors are this. And once I say it to myself, that means I understand it. It's not really memorization, because I'm not memorizing it. I make sure that I actually understand the content. But if I can say it back to myself, that means that I know it and I'm good to go. So I just keep studying like that the whole way through, literally talking to myself, making sure that I know every single thing about this disease and blah 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 blah. Then I'll go and I'll take some practice questions, and I do that for every single chapter. So I'll say I studied like a week before the test, and when I take notes, I don't actually read it out loud until a couple days before the test to just reinforce it basically. So I'll copy, let's say I have a test on Monday, I'll take notes like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on the content, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday I'll be studying by like doing that talking to myself method, making sure that I can retain all the information and that I know exactly what I'm studying. So that's basically how I study. And yeah, so that will be the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, my name is Alicia, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you have any other questions about nursing school or just a question about me or my life, drop it in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.